Hellion Station floated like a silver crown above the blue planet Orovon. It was one of the grandest hubs in the galaxy, known for its shining corridors, tall alien banners, and the endless buzz of trade ships moving in and out every second. Every year, Hellion Station hosted the Intergalactic Strength Fair, where alien species came to show off their newest machines, strongest warriors, and best inventions. Crowds filled every hall, from the glowing top decks to the engine-lined lower sections. That morning, the largest arena was filled beyond capacity. 1,000 lights shimmered across the crystal ceiling. Tall alien figures with bright armor and long hair stood beside creatures made of stone or energy, all waiting for the same event. On a raised platform stood 2 alien women from the planet Orella, known across the stars for their beauty, precision, and unmatched combat skill. They were the Orellan twins, Vera and Lena, both high-ranking members of the elite military group called the Solar Guard. Their species looked almost human, but their skin carried a faint glow like gold dust, and their eyes shimmered in shades of blue and violet. The twins were famous for their advanced mech technology. They had come to this fair to show everyone the newest creation from Orella, the Titan Arm-9, a combat mech built to crush metal and move mountains. Vera stepped forward, her voice calm but full of pride. "Behold the Titan Arm-9, the future of Orellan defense." She raised her hand and the massive mech behind her came alive. The floor shook slightly as the machine took a single step forward. It was built of black alloy with golden energy lines running across its frame. Its right arm was huge and layered with armor plates thicker than a door. The crowd gasped and whispered in awe. Everyone could see the power behind that machine. Then Lena smiled and looked across the audience. "To test its strength," she said, "we will hold a friendly match. An arm wrestling challenge. The Titan Arm-9 will face a volunteer from any race who dares." The crowd went silent for a moment. Then laughter echoed through the hall. Some aliens nudged each other, joking that no one would be foolish enough to step up. The mech's arm was made to lift entire cargo ships. Its fingers could crush a car like paper. Who could stand against that? A group of heavy-built warriors from the planet Gorgar whispered to each other. One of them, a tall brute with 4 arms, stepped forward but then stopped when the mech's hand twitched with a spark of power. He shook his head and stepped back. The crowd laughed again. For several minutes, no one moved. Then a quiet voice came from near the back. "I'll do it." Everyone turned. The crowd parted slightly, revealing a single human in a gray work suit walking toward the platform. His name was Ryan, one of the maintenance engineers assigned to Hellion Station. He wasn't famous, not a soldier or athlete. His job was fixing oxygen lines, adjusting power grids, and repairing mining bots. His brown hair was messy and a grease mark ran along his left sleeve. The twins exchanged curious glances. A human. Of all races, humans were not known for size or strength compared to other species. Most were considered average in the galaxy. Vera tilted her head. "You wish to challenge the Titan Arm-9?" Ryan nodded simply. "Why not? I've fixed bigger things than that mech." The crowd laughed again, but not cruelly, more with surprise. Someone shouted, "Human, do you have a death wish?" Ryan smiled lightly. "No, just a bit of free time." Lena seemed amused by his calm tone. She waved her hand to the guards. "Very well. Let him approach." Ryan walked up the metallic steps and stood beside the giant machine. The mech's sensors scanned him, and a faint red light traced his body from head to toe. The computer's voice spoke aloud. "Warning. Biological unit lacks reinforcement. Match not recommended." Ryan looked at the control officer nearby. "It'll be fine. I don't need reinforcement." The officer hesitated but looked at the Orellan twins. They nodded. The machine lowered its massive arm onto the steel table built for demonstrations. The sound of metal scraping echoed through the arena. Ryan sat down on the smaller chair placed opposite the mech. His human hand looked tiny compared to the mech's huge metal fingers. He rolled up his sleeve, placed his hand against the cold steel fingers and locked grips with the machine. The entire hall went quiet. Even the background hum of engines seemed to fade. All eyes were on the human and the mech. Vera raised her voice. "Let the match begin." The referee, a tall alien with 4 glowing eyes, lifted his hand. "Begin." At that instant, the mech's motors roared. The floor shook as its arm pushed forward with controlled force. The sound of strain echoed across the hall. But Ryan didn't move. His arm tensed and a vein rose on his wrist. His face stayed calm. The crowd leaned forward. The mech's power readings climbed higher. Sparks flickered at its joints as it pushed harder. Ryan's elbow barely moved. Lena frowned slightly. Increase power to 40%. The technician beside her nodded. Power increased. The mech's servos whined louder and its metal plates flexed under pressure. Ryan gritted his teeth but kept his grip firm. Slowly, his arm began to push back. The mech's arm trembled, the table creaking under the strain. Aliens in the front row gasped. Is he actually holding it? One whispered. Another said, impossible. That thing can crush titanium. Ryan's face tightened as he held steady. He could feel every vibration through the table, the raw force trying to push him down. But something inside him, that human stubbornness, that old instinct not to quit, burned stronger than pain. Vera leaned forward. How is this possible? Power to 60%, Lena ordered. The technician hesitated. That could damage the table. Do it. The mech's energy lights flared brighter. The force nearly made Ryan's chair slide back, but he planted his feet firmly against the floor. A small smile appeared on his face. That all you got? He said under his breath. The mech's arm trembled again, and the crowd roared as they saw the human's hand slowly, inch by inch, pushing the mechanical giant back toward the neutral point. For the first time, the Orellan twins looked unsure. Their calm expressions faded into astonishment. Finally, Vera raised her hand. Stop the match. But before she could finish, Ryan gave one last push. The mech's massive arm slammed down onto the table, leaving a dent in the metal. A burst of sparks shot from its shoulder joint. The sound echoed like thunder across the hall. The crowd went silent again, unable to believe what they had just seen. Ryan released the mech's hand and stood up, breathing heavily but with a calm smile. Guess it needs a bit of tuning, he said quietly. The Orellan twins stared at him. Lena spoke first. You! Overpowered Titan Arm 9. No one has done that before. Ryan shrugged. I just held on. It gave up. The silence lasted only a few seconds before the crowd erupted into cheers and laughter. Some aliens clapped. Others shouted in disbelief. The story would spread across the galaxy within hours. A human engineer had just beaten a war mech in an arm wrestling contest. As Ryan walked off the platform, Vera called out, Human, wait. What is your name? He looked back over his shoulder. Ryan. The Orellan twins exchanged another look. Vera spoke softly to her sister. We need to know more about this one. Lena nodded. Yes, no machine should lose like that. Not to a human. Ryan disappeared into the cheering crowd, his gray worksuit marked with grease and dust, unaware that his small act of courage had just changed how the galaxy would see humans forever. The lights of the arena dimmed as the announcer declared the event over. But the whispers continued long after. Whispers about the quiet man who walked in, faced a mech built by the galaxy's elite, and snapped the win without fear. The news of the strange match spread faster than light across Helion Station. Within an hour, screens in every lounge, bar, and docking bay played the same footage. A human mechanic defeating a military-grade mech with his bare hand. The crowd in the recording gasped again and again as the small human's arm pushed the giant machine down. Every viewer reacted the same way. Shock first, then laughter, then curiosity. Ryan had returned to his small workshop on Deck 7, trying to continue his shift like nothing happened. The walls of his workroom were covered with spare parts, cables, and toolkits. The faint smell of oil and metal filled the air. He sat on a stool, adjusting a broken mining drone, pretending not to hear the excited chatter from outside. Two of his co-workers, both aliens from the planet Vacron, peeked through the door. Ryan, one said with wide golden eyes. Did you really beat that mech? Ryan didn't look up. The mech's servos overheated. I just held on until it stopped. The other alien laughed. You are either lying or made of steel. Ryan sighed quietly. I'm made of tired muscles and too much coffee. Before the conversation could continue, the door opened and two tall figures stepped inside. The entire workshop went silent. It was Vera and Lena, the Orellan twins themselves. Their silver uniforms shimmered under the workshop lights. Ryan slowly stood up, wiping his hands with a rag. Vera spoke first. We need to talk to you, human. Ryan nodded politely. Sure, about the mech? Lena folded her arms. About what happened in front of half the galaxy. The other workers stepped aside. No one dared interrupt. The twins walked closer, and Ryan could see the fine details of their armor, the faint energy lines glowing softly like living veins. Their eyes studied him carefully, not with anger but with deep curiosity. Vera asked, "How did you do it?" Ryan tilted his head. "Do what?" "You know what?" Lena said, her voice sharp. "Titan Arm-9 is built to lift tanks. You held it like a toy." Ryan scratched the back of his neck. "I just didn't let go." Vera frowned slightly. "That is not an answer." Ryan smiled faintly. "It's the only one I have." The twins glanced at each other. They had faced many warriors in their lives, trained soldiers, cybernetic champions, even beasts from high-gravity worlds. None had ever stopped their machines. This human, wearing a dirty work suit and an easy smile, made no sense to them. Vera finally said, "Come with us. We want to run a few harmless tests, to understand what makes your kind so different." Ryan hesitated. He didn't like attention, but he also didn't want to seem rude. "All right," he said at last. "As long as you promise not to put me inside another mech." Lena almost smiled. "Agreed." They led him through the main corridor of Helion Station. People stared as he passed, aliens of every shape and color whispering and pointing. The human who defeated a mech had become a celebrity overnight. Some called out greetings, others tried to shake his hand, and a few just recorded him quietly on their wrist displays. Ryan felt uncomfortable but tried to keep calm. They entered the Orellan Science Bay, a large room filled with blue light and floating holograms. Robotic arms moved above glowing tables, analyzing metal fragments and energy crystals. The twins guided him to a scanning chair surrounded by sensors. "Please sit," Vera said softly. "This will not hurt." Ryan sat down as thin beams of light scanned his body from head to toe. The machine beeped softly while data appeared on a hovering display. The twins studied the screen with interest. "Heart rate stable," Lena said. "Muscle fibers average, no implants, no enhancements." Vera looked puzzled. "No sign of cybernetics, no stimulant residue, no hidden tech. He is completely natural." Ryan crossed his arms. "Told you. Just a human." Vera shook her head. "Impossible. You match the strength of a powered mech." "There has to be something," Ryan shrugged. "Maybe your mech underestimated me." Lena sighed. "Machines do not underestimate. They calculate," Ryan thought for a moment. "Maybe you measured the wrong thing then." Both twins turned to him. "What do you mean?" Ryan pointed to his chest. "You measured muscle, metal, and energy. But you didn't measure will. That's what humans rely on. We don't always have the best tools or strongest bodies, but we never stop pushing." The twins exchanged looks again. His words were simple, but they carried weight. Lena walked closer. "So you are saying it is not strength, but something inside?" Ryan nodded. "Something that tells us to keep trying, even when the odds are bad. Call it will, call it stubbornness. Every human has it." For a moment, neither of the twins spoke. They were trained soldiers and scientists who had seen many kinds of courage, but the quiet certainty in Ryan's tone felt different. After a long silence, Vera said, "Perhaps there is more to your kind than we thought." Ryan smiled lightly. "Maybe. But we're still just people who get tired and hungry like everyone else." They released him after the tests, but their curiosity only grew. The data showed nothing unusual, yet the mystery remained. They could not explain how an unenhanced human could overpower a military machine. Later that day, the Orellan Council requested a private report from the twins. They stood in front of a large circular screen showing the faces of the council members, all shining with golden light. Vera spoke calmly. "The human named Ryan displays no technological enhancement. His biology is average for his species." One council member asked, "Then how did he defeat Titan Arm-9? Lena replied, "We do not know yet. But his endurance, reflex control, and emotional focus are unlike anything we have recorded." Another voice said, "Could this be a hidden human project? A weapon disguised as a man?" Vera answered firmly, "No, he is a mechanic. We confirmed his records. There is no deception." The council fell silent. Then the oldest member said, "Continue your study. If this is natural, we must understand it. The galaxy may have underestimated humans." The connection closed, leaving the twins deep in thought. Meanwhile, Ryan returned to his small cabin at the edge of the maintenance deck. He sat on his bunk staring at his hands. They were sore, but he couldn't stop smiling. He hadn't done it to show off. He just didn't like seeing people afraid of machines. A message blinked on his wrist communicator. It was from Vera. "Meet us tomorrow at 0900. We have another test." Ryan sighed. More tests, great, but he agreed. Something told him this was only the beginning. The next morning, the twins brought him to a training dome filled with gravity simulators and strength-measuring devices. They watched as he lifted heavy loads, balanced under pressure, and ran through obstacle courses. Each time, his results were above average but never impossible. Still, the machines showed one strange result. His stamina barely dropped. After hours of testing, Vera said quietly to her sister, "He does not tire as fast as others." Lena nodded. "He has a steady rhythm. His energy is not from power, but persistence." They called him over. Vera smiled slightly. "You continue to surprise us, human," Ryan shrugged. "You should see me fix a broken reactor after a 12-hour shift." "This is nothing," Lena asked. "Do all humans have this kind of endurance?" Ryan thought for a moment. Maybe not all. But when life gets hard, every human finds a way to keep going. We fall, but we stand again. The twins watched him closely. His words carried something rare, quiet pride without arrogance. By the end of the session, the Orellan twins had a new kind of respect for the human. They had expected a fool who got lucky, but instead found a being with deep willpower hidden beneath simple words. That night, when they filed their second report, Vera wrote a single line at the end. "The human wins not by strength of body, but by strength of spirit. Machines cannot copy that." Across the galaxy, alien networks replayed the footage of Ryan's match. Viewers debated endlessly. Some called it a trick. Others said it was proof that humans were more dangerous than they looked. On remote colonies, miners raised their drinks and cheered for their fellow human. On Orella, scientists began to study human biology in detail, trying to find the hidden factor behind Ryan's performance. Ryan, however, stayed the same. He continued fixing machines, eating simple meals, and spending quiet evenings staring out at the stars. But deep inside, he knew that something had changed. For the first time, the galaxy had stopped laughing at humans. They were paying attention, and that attention was only the beginning of something far greater. Helion Station had never been this loud. Every screen in every corridor showed the replay of Ryan's victory. The human who beat the Mech had become the center of attention. Reporters, traders, guards, and even pilots were talking about him. The Orellan twins, Vera and Lena, had no choice but to face questions from the media. When they entered the press hall, flashes of light filled the room. Reporters of different species raised their devices. The first question came from a silver-skinned alien. "Commander Vera, is it true your Titan Arm-9 was defeated by an unmodified human?" Vera stayed calm. "Yes, the match was fair and the result was confirmed by our systems." The room burst into noise. Another alien shouted, "Was there a malfunction?" Lena replied, "No malfunction. The human named Ryan overpowered the Mech with physical effort alone." That statement shook the room. Many didn't believe it. Some laughed. But the twins didn't care about the jokes. They had seen it with their own eyes. Meanwhile, Ryan tried to avoid the chaos. He had taken the day off from work, hoping to rest. But when he stepped into the main plaza to grab lunch, he saw a group of aliens pointing at him. "There he is," one said, "the Mech breaker." Others surrounded him, asking questions. "Did you use hidden tech? Are humans stronger than we thought? Can you teach me your secret?" Ryan kept walking, shaking his head. "No secret," he said softly. "Just hard work." But the crowd followed him, recording everything. Security had to escort him to safety. They led him through a private corridor that ended in front of the Orellan twins' research office. When the doors opened, Vera stood waiting. She smiled slightly. "Seems you're famous now," Ryan sighed. "I didn't ask for that. I just wanted to see if the Mech could be beaten." Lena handed him a cup of water. "Well, you did more than that. You started something bigger. Every species is talking about humans now." Ryan sat down. "That doesn't sound like a good thing." Vera looked at him seriously. "It might not be. The Galactic Board is sending observers. They want to see if humans are truly capable of defeating military technology. Some are afraid. Some are curious." Ryan frowned. "Afraid of one mechanic?" "Not of you," Lena said. "Of what you represent." The twins explained that in the galaxy's long history, humans had never been seen as a powerful race. They were clever traders, explorers, and builders, but not warriors. The Orellans, the Vectrons, the Gorgers, and other races held military control. Ryan's single victory had changed that image. Later that day, the board's transport ship arrived. A group of officials entered the station, representing several major species. They wanted a demonstration. Vera called Ryan again. "We need your help. They want to see you face the Mech once more, but this time under full supervision." Ryan looked unsure. "Another match? I don't want to embarrass anyone." Lena shook her head. "It's not about pride anymore. It's about proof. They think it was luck. We need to show them it wasn't." Ryan thought for a moment and then nodded. "All right, but let's make it fair. No fancy tricks. Just me and the Mech." The next day, the arena was filled again. Thousands of spectators arrived along with representatives from dozens of worlds. The air was tense. The Titan Arm-9 had been repaired and upgraded. Its armor was reinforced, its energy core doubled in strength, and its control system improved. Vera stepped onto the stage and spoke to the crowd. "We present this rematch under the supervision of the Galactic Board. The Titan Arm-9 will operate at full capacity." The crowd cheered as the Mech powered up, its joints glowing with orange light. Ryan entered the arena wearing a simple uniform. No armor, no gloves, no enhancement. He walked calmly to the table and placed his hand on the metal surface. The Mech did the same, its giant fingers pressing against his palm. The referee raised his hand. "Ready, begin." The Mech moved first, applying a powerful push. The ground vibrated. Ryan felt the force run through his arm up to his shoulder and down to his spine. His muscles tensed. He leaned forward slightly, eyes fixed on the Mech's glowing face. The pressure was greater than before. The Mech's systems had been improved and its strength doubled. But Ryan remembered something his father once told him back on Earth. Machines don't feel pain. Humans do. And that's what makes us stronger, because we fight through it. He gritted his teeth and pushed back. His arm held steady. The Mech's sensors detected resistance and increased power again. The noise grew louder as servos strained. The table creaked. The crowd held their breath. Lena checked the control screen. "Power at 70%, she said. Ryan's heartbeat echoed in his ears. Sweat ran down his neck. He pushed harder, not fast but steady, inch by inch. His wrist trembled but did not bend. The Mech's servos whined like screaming engines. The galactic observers whispered to each other. One of them, a tall creature with red skin, muttered, "This human is not normal." Another replied, "He is." "That's what makes it frightening." Ryan's knuckles turned white. He took a deep breath and focused. All the noise around him faded. In that moment, it was just him and the machine. Then slowly the Mech's arm began to move backward. Just an inch at first. Then another. The table shook as Ryan gained ground. The crowd began to cheer. The alien reporters shouted in disbelief. "Power to full capacity," Vera ordered. The Mech's eyes flashed red. It used every ounce of energy available. Sparks flew from its joints. The force was enough to bend the table's frame, but Ryan's arm did not give up. He pushed with a calm but fierce strength, his jaw tight, his heart steady. With one final push, he slammed the Mech's hand to the table again. The impact cracked the metal base and sent a wave of sound across the arena. Sparks scattered across the floor. The Mech's systems powered down, silence fell. Then the hall exploded in cheers and shock. Every species in the crowd rose to their feet. Cameras flashed. The board officials stood speechless. Ryan let go of the Mech's hand and stood up, breathing heavily but smiling. "That was a good one," he said softly. Vera walked forward and raised his arm to the crowd. "The result is clear. Human victory confirmed." The roar from the stands shook the walls. Aliens clapped, shouted, and recorded every moment. It was history being made before their eyes. Later, in the debriefing room, the board members faced Ryan directly. The oldest of them spoke first. "Human, we came here to see a trick, but what we saw was truth. You defeated a machine designed to overpower any biological being." Ryan looked around the room. It wasn't about winning. "I just wanted to show that humans don't break easily." Another official nodded. "You have changed how the galaxy sees your kind. From now on, humanity will not be ignored." The meeting ended with quiet respect. Even the Orellan twins, who had first doubted him, felt pride in what they had witnessed. That evening, Ryan walked alone to the viewing deck of the station. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass wall. He leaned against the railing, watching ships drift by. Vera joined him silently. She stood beside him, her reflection glowing in the glass. "You did something big today, Ryan," she said. "The galaxy will remember this." He smiled softly. "I didn't do it for the galaxy. I did it because someone needed to stand up when no one else would." Lena arrived a moment later, holding a small data chip. "The board wants you to visit Earth's embassy. They plan to honor you," Ryan chuckled. "I'm just a mechanic." "I don't need medals." Vera looked at him thoughtfully. "Maybe not. But heroes rarely do." For a long moment they stood together, watching the lights of ships fade into the distance. Somewhere deep inside, Ryan knew this was not the end. His simple act of courage had opened a door, one that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Across the stars, alien worlds replayed the match again and again. And every time the humans slammed the mech's hand to the table, they felt a quiet truth grow stronger. Humanity was not the weakest race. Humanity had just reminded the universe what determination truly meant. The next morning, Helion Station was alive with energy. News of Ryan's second victory over Titan Arm-9 had spread like solar fire across the galaxy. Trade routes, research hubs, and even distant colonies were buzzing with speculation. Scientists, soldiers, and engineers debated endlessly over how a single human could outperform one of the most advanced machines ever built. Ryan, however, had returned to the small quiet of his workshop. He was adjusting the hydraulic lines on a cargo drone, carefully tightening bolts and checking connections. The hum of machinery was comforting after the excitement of yesterday. Vera and Lena arrived unannounced. The twins had spent the night reviewing data, watching slow-motion replays and running calculations. They wanted answers. They needed to understand why one human could do what no alien, beast, or enhanced soldier had achieved. Ryan looked up, surprised to see them again. "Good morning," he said, smiling faintly. "I didn't expect company," Vera nodded. "We need your help. We want to study you more closely if you agree." Ryan hesitated. "Study me? Like in a lab?" Lena laughed softly. "Not for fun. We need to understand. The board insists on it. They want to know why you beat Titan Arm-9 twice without enhancements or special training." Ryan shrugged. "All right, but I'm just a human. Nothing special here." The twins exchanged glances. They had seen the match, the measurements, the repeated tests. Something was special, but it wasn't technological. They led him to a research lab in the heart of the station. The room was massive, with walls made of transparent alloys showing the void of space outside. Tables were lined with devices Ryan had never seen: energy scanners, molecular analyzers, and weightless motion simulators. The floor glowed faintly with blue light, and robotic arms hovered silently, ready to assist. "Sit here," Vera said, gesturing to a high chair surrounded by sensors. "This will take time, but it will not hurt. We only want to learn." Ryan sat, and the scanning beams activated, moving over his body from head to toe. His pulse, heart rate, muscle tension, nerve response, and reflex speed were measured. Holographic screens displayed his biosigns in real time. Lena studied the data. Muscle density is average. Reaction time is slightly faster than normal human averages, but nothing extraordinary for an elite soldier. Vera frowned. Energy output is consistent but not enhanced. His metabolic efficiency is high, but not beyond human limits. Ryan leaned back. "See, I told you. I'm not special. I just don't give up." The twins glanced at each other. "That might be the clue." Vera spoke softly. "You keep saying it is not strength but persistence. Can you explain?" Ryan thought for a moment. "When I was younger, I worked on farms. Gravity was stronger in our area. Crops were heavy, and we had to carry water for miles. People in my family worked together, and no one stopped even when it was hard. That kind of work builds muscles, yes, but more than that, it builds the habit of not giving up. Humans fight for survival and for each other." Lena tilted her head. "So it is willpower?" Ryan nodded. "Yes, a machine can calculate force, speed, and energy. But it can't feel fear, pain, or determination the way a human does. That's the difference." Vera studied him. "You are saying the human spirit allows you to surpass physical limits?" "Exactly," Ryan said. "We push because we want to survive, because we care, or because we won't be stopped. Machines don't have that. They follow programs." The twins let his words sink in. They had always relied on technology, mechs, and advanced systems. But here was a human showing them something machines could never imitate: determination, endurance, and focus. "Run him through the endurance simulations," Vera instructed the lab technicians. Ryan moved through the exercises. running on low-gravity treadmills, lifting adjustable weights, balancing on shifting platforms, and reacting to unpredictable energy pulses. His muscles burned, his heart raced, but his performance barely dropped. The twin observers recorded every detail, Lena whispered to Vera. Look at the output. He barely tires, Vera nodded. And yet the readings are all normal. He is human. He should be exhausted. After hours of testing, Ryan collapsed onto a chair, breathing heavily. Sweat ran down his forehead. He smiled faintly. I think I need water now. Lena handed him a cup. You need to drink more than water, she said softly. You need recognition. The galaxy has never understood your kind, Ryan shrugged. I'm fine without recognition, I just want to help. Vera spoke with a quiet intensity. Humans may change the balance of power, not because of weapons, but because of what you carry inside. We have been studying strength as force and technology. You show us that strength can also come from will. Ryan looked out the window at the stars. Machines can break bones, crush walls, or lift ships. But humans don't give up. That is what makes us unpredictable. The twins exchanged another look. They had underestimated humanity. They had thought they were showing the galaxy how powerful their technology was. Instead, they had discovered that one human could challenge even the most advanced systems with sheer determination. Later that day, the Orellan Council convened a private session. Vera and Lena presented the data. Holographic screens displayed Ryan's performance in detail. Every movement, heartbeat, and measurement was analyzed. This human's endurance is unmatched for his size, Vera said. No enhancement, no cybernetic implants, no external power sources. The machine was defeated not by force alone, but by the human's ability to persist beyond expected limits. One Elder Council member, a being made of shifting crystal, asked, Are we to understand that this is natural for all humans? Lena replied, Not all, but many. Their history shows survival under harsh conditions. Their biology has adapted for persistence, endurance, and flexibility. Their spirit amplifies this. A human may appear weak, but they are not to be underestimated. Another elder spoke. Then we must reconsider our approach. We have judged humans by appearance, not by capability. Their strength lies in resilience, focus, and will. Vera nodded. Yes, and we must also consider that technology alone is not invincible. Humans will adapt and find ways around it. That is what we witnessed with Ryan. Back in the research lab, Ryan continued helping the twins repair the Titan Arm-9. He worked methodically, examining circuits, tightening screws, and running tests. His hands moved over the machine with care. Vera observed him quietly. He is not only strong in spirit, but also clever with machinery, she said to Lena. Yes, Lena replied. He can fix, adjust, and understand systems quickly. He combines endurance with intellect. That is dangerous for any opponent. Ryan looked up. I don't want to be dangerous. I just want to do my work and help when I can. Lena smiled. Sometimes helping is the most dangerous thing a human can do. By evening, the twins had gained a new respect for Ryan. They realized that the match had been more than a demonstration of raw power. It had revealed the essence of humanity, determination, resilience, and cleverness under pressure. Across the galaxy, alien societies began to whisper. If one human could outperform Titan Arm-9, what else could humanity achieve? Could they become explorers, engineers, diplomats, and warriors in ways no one had expected? Ryan, meanwhile, returned to his small quarters, exhausted but satisfied. He looked at the stars and thought quietly. He was just a mechanic, but he had reminded the galaxy that humans could never be underestimated. That night, Vera recorded a note in her personal log. Ryan is not a hero in the traditional sense. He does not seek glory or fame. Yet he demonstrates something our machines cannot replicate. Perseverance beyond calculated limits. We must study humanity further. Lena added her own thought. Humans are not merely biological beings. They carry a spirit that allows them to endure, adapt, and succeed where logic and technology may fail. Ryan is proof of this. Somewhere in the galaxy, Ryan slept quietly. He did not know that his simple act of holding on had caused a ripple through civilizations. A ripple that would lead to alliances, respect, and a new understanding of humanity's potential. The stars outside Helion Station twinkled as if acknowledging him. One human had stood up, faced a giant machine, and won. That was enough to make the galaxy sit up and take notice. The human spirit had revealed itself, and it was stronger than any machine. The news of Ryan's victories had spread beyond Helion Station. Every major system in the galaxy had watched the videos of a human overpowering Titan Arm-9, a machine designed to be invincible. In the corridors of power, in council chambers, and in military outposts, discussions were no longer about human weaknesses. They were about possibilities, about the unpredictable strength and resilience of a species they had long underestimated. Ryan, however, remained unaware of the growing attention. He returned to his routine at Helion Station, repairing cargo drones, checking mining bots and helping fellow engineers with faulty systems. He preferred quiet work. Fame and accolades were foreign to him, and he did not seek them, yet the universe had other plans. A delegation from the Galactic Assembly, a coalition of planets and species responsible for interstellar governance, arrived on Helion Station. They requested Ryan personally. He was escorted through the station by Vera and Lena, past crowds of aliens whispering in awe. Security cleared a path as reporters and citizens alike recorded his every movement. When Ryan entered the grand chamber of the assembly, he was struck by its scale. Towering walls gleamed with crystalline panels. Representatives from dozens of worlds sat in circular tiers, each species distinct in shape, color, and size. Some had multiple arms, others had translucent skin, and a few seemed almost made of energy. Every eye in the chamber turned toward the human who had defied a machine. A silver-haired ambassador stood and spoke. "Human Ryan, you have done something unprecedented. You have shown a strength not of technology, but of spirit. For this, the Assembly honors your courage." Ryan remained seated, quiet and attentive. He did not expect recognition. "I only did what I thought was right," he said softly. The ambassador nodded. "Yet your actions have changed the galaxy's perception of humanity. We once dismissed your species as fragile. We now understand your potential." The assembly erupted in murmurs. Some representatives whispered, while others clapped their many hands. Vera and Lena stood behind Ryan, proud but silent. The twins had known the truth of human resilience, but seeing the galaxy recognize it was a new experience even for them. After the formal recognition, the assembly invited Ryan to speak. He stood, facing the enormous chamber. Despite his modesty, his voice carried steadily. "Honorable members of the assembly," he began, "I am not a warrior or a hero. I am a mechanic. I fix machines, repair systems, and try to help where I can. What happened with Titan Arm-9 was not magic, not luck, and not deception. It was persistence. Humans do not always have the largest muscles or the strongest weapons, but we do not give up. That is our strength." He paused as the chamber listened intently. Machines can calculate, predict, and react, but they do not feel hope, fear, or determination. We humans face challenges, and we push forward because we choose to. That is why I was able to defeat Titan Arm-9, and that is why my species should never be underestimated. The chamber was silent for a moment. Then, one by one, representatives began to clap, a sound of approval that grew louder until it became a roar. Many stood in admiration. Aliens who had once laughed at humans now looked at them with newfound respect. Vera stepped forward. "Ryan has shown us that strength is not measured by machines or weapons alone. It is measured by spirit, will, and determination. We, the Orellan twins, recognize that humans are a force to be respected." Lena added, "This human has proven that even in the face of overwhelming power, persistence and courage can achieve the impossible. Let humanity be counted among those capable of shaping the future of our galaxy." The applause grew louder. Some species who had doubted humans now sought alliances. Others wanted to understand human culture, biology, and methods. The simple act of holding onto a mech had created curiosity, respect, and hope. After the assembly concluded, Ryan was invited to join the Orellans in a private discussion. The twins led him to a quiet observation deck overlooking the planet Orevon below. The twin moons reflected in the water-colored oceans, casting a serene glow. "Ryan," Vera began, "you have changed the way the galaxy sees your kind. This is not just about defeating a machine. It is about showing that humans can achieve what no one expects. Ryan shrugged lightly. I didn't do it to change anyone's mind. I just wanted to see if the machine could be stopped. Lena smiled. And it has done far more than that. Every species will now consider humans capable, clever, and resilient. Your small act has shifted perspectives across the galaxy. Ryan looked at the glowing horizon. I just hope it doesn't put my family or friends in danger. I never asked for attention. Vera placed a hand on his shoulder. The galaxy will take notice, yes. But now, humans have a voice. You've shown them what your people are capable of. You gave humanity a chance to be respected. That evening, Ryan returned to his quarters. He watched ships of all kinds dock and depart. Traders, explorers, and diplomats moved about with a new awareness of humans. Ryan realized that his simple act of courage, holding onto a machine and refusing to let go, had opened doors for his species that had been closed for centuries. The following weeks were filled with invitations, not all of which Ryan accepted. He was requested to consult on machinery, participate in interspecies projects, and even advise on the design of new mechs. He worked closely with the Orellans, helping them understand human endurance and creative problem-solving. The twins had a plan. They wanted to combine human ingenuity with Orellan technology, creating a new generation of machines that could be piloted and repaired by humans efficiently. Ryan was at the center of this collaboration, bridging two species through skill, courage, and intelligence. On one quiet afternoon, Vera spoke privately to Ryan. You realize, don't you, that you have started a new chapter for humanity? Ryan looked at her, modest but firm. I didn't start anything. I just didn't let go. Lena joined them. Sometimes the simplest acts carry the greatest weight. You have reminded the galaxy of something they forgot. Never underestimate the spirit of humans. Ryan smiled softly. If this helps my people, then that is enough for me. Across the galaxy, alien news networks replayed his match countless times. Academics studied his technique, engineers debated his methods, and soldiers noted his perseverance. The story of Ryan the human who defeated Titan Arm-9 became a symbol of hope and inspiration. On Helion Station, small plaques were placed near the arena where the match had taken place. They read, Here, a human showed the galaxy that strength is more than power. It is will, courage, and perseverance. Ryan himself never visited the plaque. He continued his work, quietly ensuring systems were repaired and machines functioned properly. Fame did not change him. His humility was a part of what made him human, his dedication to others and his quiet courage. The Orellan twins, however, often looked at him with admiration. They had witnessed one of the rarest qualities in the galaxy, the human spirit. They understood that machines, no matter how advanced, could never replace determination, willpower, and cleverness. As the sun rose over Orevon, Ryan prepared to leave the station briefly, traveling with the twins to consult on the design of new mechs. Before stepping into the transport pod, he glanced back at the arena one last time. The memory of holding the mech's massive arm in his hands and refusing to let go still filled him with quiet pride. He knew one thing clearly. Humanity had been underestimated for too long. That could never happen again. In the months that followed, alliances formed between human colonies and alien nations. The galaxy began to treat humans as equals, not merely as traders, explorers, or workers. Humans were respected, consulted, and admired. All of this started because one human walked into an arena, faced a mech designed by the galaxy's elite, and refused to give up. And while Ryan returned to his work as a mechanic, fixing drones and repairing engines, the galaxy never forgot the lesson he had taught. Strength is not measured by size, weapons, or machines. Strength is measured by the will to endure, to persist, and to never give up. Humanity had just proven that in front of the stars. The legend of Ryan the Mech Breaker would live on, told across planets and generations, a symbol of human ingenuity, courage, and the power of the human spirit. The universe had learned a simple truth: never underestimate a human.